Welcome back to my channel. I'm serious about the title of this video. The fact that some people fail in a capitalistic free enterprise system is a very good thing. But let's dig into it. First with this clip from economist Thomas Sowell.
Milton Friedman used to say that people call this a capitalist society as a profit society. It's a profit and loss society. And the losses are just as important as the profits, because the losses force people to stop doing things that are not working. And only those who are doing things that can be self-supporting can continue.
Exactly. The market, that is, the reaction of millions of individual people freely making decisions, is what forces a businessman to either do better or leave the market to those who can. If you don't offer enough of what people want for the money you charge, you fail, and that is a good thing. If you could keep making bad decisions and not fail, you hurt the overall improvement in the economy and thus hurt even more people. Let's go to economist Milton Friedman himself.
A free enterprise system is a profit and loss system, and never forget the loss part. If you have a system in which losses are eliminated, you will eliminate the heart of a free enterprise system, which is to make people responsible for their own actions and to provide a system under which they are induced to use their resources effectively, under which if they engage in bad ventures, they get out. That's the fundamental difference between the market and government. When government engages in a losing venture, you know what happens. It gets doubled in size. But in a market system, if somebody engages in a losing venture, he has to go out of business. And that's more important, really, than the profit side, in my opinion.
Note the difference between free enterprise and government-run operations. The government rarely ends a program, no matter how bad and poorly run it is. As I have heard said, government programs never fail, because if they fail, it is declared they just need more money. So they just tax you more, or, just as bad, spend more than they take in, causing inflation. Either way, you are forced to pay, whether things work or not. Free enterprise, or capitalism, is ultimately about the freedom to choose. A businessman who fails may, possibly, convince some financial backers to still support them, but only if he can also convince them that he will make the necessary changes to turn things around. And, most importantly, it is entirely voluntary on their part whether they do. And if it continues to fail, it is these people who made the wrong decisions that lose their investment. You don't get any choice with the government. It's all force. It is a simple fact that people are more careful with spending their own money than when spending someone else's money. The government can only spend someone else's money. Somehow we keep forgetting that.
Whenever we depart from voluntary cooperation and try to do good by using force, the bad moral value of force triumphs over good intentions. And you realize this is highly relevant to what I am saying, because the essential notion of a capitalist society, which I'll come back to, is voluntary cooperation, voluntary exchange.
It's interesting that most of the insistence on having the government run things comes from the left. Yet those same people will use a lot of rhetoric supporting freedom, choice, etc. But their goals absolutely require forcibly taking from some to give to others, often more to buy votes than anything else. And if government is overly intrusive in the market or takes over industries more directly, decisions will be made primarily for political reasons, not for economic reasons. The government literally picks the winners and losers. Every bad program will continue, but with even more spending.
It's always so attractive to be able to do good at somebody else's expense. That's the real problem about government. Government is a way by which every individual believes he can live at the expense of everybody else.
Yes, there are a lot of people who think the government should provide for them. Even college students who graduate from prestigious universities may not want to work hard to provide for themselves, but will insist the government should provide them with health care, food, and housing. Heck, they even think government should cancel the loans they voluntarily took out to pay for their own education. That money comes from many people who paid their own way or never even got to go to college. Who is truly being greedy? People who want to keep most of the money they earn, or those who want to take someone else's money for their own benefit? It's also kind of funny that universities, those bastions of leftist thought, make sure they get their money. The burden just switches to the taxpayer instead of the actual customer.
Once you get some government program in, it may have been a very good idea, it's always proposed for good reasons, but once it gets in, it becomes a special privilege of a small group which has an enormously strong interest to maintain it. And you do not have any comparable group that has an interest to get rid of it. And therefore, the hardest thing in the world is to get rid of any government program, however badly it works.
Exactly. No matter how well things are going, you can always point to people in need and declare something must be done. Thus, the spending just keeps going up. But you might want to consider something else, that no matter how much the government spends on helping people, we can still always find people in need. If all the money spent to help the poor actually reached the poor, there would be no poor people. We have a twofold problem. Much of the money never reaches them, either because of government waste or fraud, or a lot of the poor who, no matter how much you help them, still do things that guarantee they remain poor. Government programs don't care. They don't face any risks from bad programs. In fact, the more people who remain poor, the more government money can be demanded. So the problems just keep happening while costs go up. But the last part is key to understanding how you are being manipulated. Let's look at a hypothetical example. Suppose the government provides a program that benefits a certain group, so each member of that group gains $15,000. This group is highly motivated to fight to keep it. But if the cost to each taxpayer comes to $10, are they going to be up in arms about it? Of course not. So the government can have thousands of such programs which do, in total, greatly hurt taxpayers, but they don't see the big picture. Heck, for that matter, you may be getting some benefit you would fight for yourself, never realizing you're losing far more than you are gaining. It's a neat racket for professional politicians. Meanwhile, vast amounts of money are wasted and thus not available to actually improve the overall economy. The better the economy does, the better people's lives become. Thanks for watching, and don't let the trolls stop you from speaking out.